imagine, just for a second, that you're standing on the Olympic podium.
Oh, wow. Okay, setting the scene.
Yeah, I mean, the crowd in the stadium is absolutely roaring. The flash bulbs are going off, and you have just secured your place as, like, one of the greatest athletes on the entire
All right,
planet.
you've dedicated your whole life to this one single moment.
Exactly, your entire life. But there was a really fascinating, well, a paradox that happens on that podium. If you look closely at the faces of the athletes, like really look at them, the person who won the bronze medal almost consistently looks visibly happier than the athlete who took home the silver.
Which is, I mean, it's such a powerful visual when you actually notice it on TV, but it completely defies our basic logic, right?
Yeah.
You'd assume the person who placed higher would be, experiencing way more joy.
Objectively, yeah. I mean, silver's obviously a better outcome than bronze. But the thing is, happiness is rarely about objective reality. It is entirely about perspective and how our brains process our surroundings.
So it's about what they're comparing themselves to.
Exactly. The silver medalist is standing there, right? And they're agonizing over missing the gold.
Yeah.
They're replaying that one split second, that one misstep, thinking, if I had just pushed a little harder, that gold would be mine. They're comparing upward.
Right, they're looking at number one.
But the bronze medalist, they're looking downward. They're thinking, man, I almost didn't make the podium at all. I was one fraction of a second away from going home with literally nothing. They're just thrilled to be standing there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Right. It proves this foundational secret about human nature. Happiness is not dictated by the events that happen to you. It is dictated by how your biology and your psychology process those events.
Welcome to the Missing Lessons, where we explain what school never did.
Today, we are doing a deep dive into the secret psychology of happiness. We're going to explore why the things you think will make you happy usually don't, the biological traps your brain sets for you, and how you can actually hack your neurochemistry to build a genuinely fulfilling life.
And hey, really quick, if you're enjoying the Missing Lessons, make sure to follow the podcast, leave a rating, and share it with someone who might find it interesting. It helps us create more episodes and reach more curious minds.
So we really need to start with the biggest trap, because it's the one almost everyone listening to this has fallen into. I know I have. It's the I'll be happy when illusion.
Oh, yeah. We all know exactly what this sounds like.
Right. You tell yourself, I'll be happy when I finally graduate, or I'll be happy when I get that higher salary.
When I buy the house, when I find the perfect partner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We treat happiness like it is a destination on a map, like a specific milestone that once we cross it, it's going to permanently alter our baseline mood. We assume we'll cross this finish line and finally get to, relax into a state of permanent joy.
But the reality is that the finish line just keeps moving. You reach it, and suddenly it's 10 miles further down the road.
It does, and there is a very specific biological reason for that. It comes down to how our neurochemicals operate, specifically dopamine versus serotonin.
Which is super important because people confuse those two all the time, right?
All the time. Most people think dopamine is the happiness chemical. It isn't. Dopamine is the craving and anticipation molecule. It is the drive that makes you want to achieve the goal in the first place.
No, it's the thrill of the hunt.
Yes, exactly. When you're working toward the promotion or you're saving up for that new car, your brain is pumping out dopamine to keep you motivated. It feels good to be chasing it. But the second you achieve the goal, the exact moment you get the keys or the job title, the dopamine just shuts off.
Which leaves you with this unexpected feeling of emptiness. You got the thing, but the chemical making you excited about it is just gone.
Precisely. To actually enjoy the thing you achieved, you need serotonin. Serotonin is the here and now satisfaction molecule. It's the chemical of contentment. But if you've spent your entire life only chasing the next milestone, only running on dopamine.
You haven't cultivated the ability to produce serotonin.
Right. So you get the promotion, the dopamine drops, and you're left wondering why you feel completely hollow. So what does your brain do? It immediately starts looking for the next dopamine hit, and you say, okay, well, I guess I'll be happy when I get the next promotion.
I mean, I hear that, and the neurochemistry totally makes sense, but let's pause and push back on this a bit, especially regarding wealth.
Okay, let's do it.
Because the idea that money or milestones don't make you happy, it sounds a bit like a convenient philosophy for people who already have money, right?
That is a very fair point.
Logically, if my car breaks down today, I'm stressed. I have to figure out how to pay for it, how to get to work. But if a millionaire's car breaks down, they just call a service and, buy a new one. How does the "I'll be happy when" trap account for the fact that having money objectively eliminates daily panic.
That is a crucial distinction to make. And you're completely right. Money absolutely buys happiness, but only up to the exact point where your basic needs and daily comforts are met.
So there's a threshold.
Yes, poverty and financial instability are massively stressful. When you lack resources, your brain is bathed in cortisol, the stress hormone, because your survival is actively threatened. Reaching a solid middle-class income where you aren't stressing about groceries or rent or healthcare, that literally removes the cortisol.
So money buys the removal of stress, which to our brains feels an awful lot like happiness.
It does. But here's the mechanism that trips people up. Beyond that specific threshold of comfort, accumulating more wealth doesn't move the daily happiness needle.
Wait, really? Like not at all?
Basically not at all. Earning double or triple that comfortable amount does not equate to double or triple the joy. The $1 million mansion does not make you 10 times happier than the nice, comfortable apartment.
Because of adaptation, right? We just get used to it.
Because of adaptation. Humans are evolutionary masters of habituation. It's a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
Think about like when you walk into a room that smells strongly of coffee.
Oh, yeah. Best smell in the world.
Right. But after 10 minutes, you don't even smell it anymore. Your brain filters it out so you can detect new, potentially dangerous scents. The exact same thing happens with your lifestyle. You get the massive promotion, you move into the mansion, and for a few weeks, you are riding high.
And then it just becomes normal.
Exactly. Very quickly, your brain adapts. The mansion just becomes your house. The massive paycheck just becomes your baseline. The hedonic treadmill speeds up, and your emotional state returns right back to where it was before the promotion.
So if external milestones and wealth don't create lasting joy because our brains inevitably adapt to them, that means the environment isn't the primary driver of our mood. We have to look at the internal architecture of the brain, right? To figure out what actually dictates that emotional baseline.
And part of that baseline is actually genetic. We are all born with a sort of preset point for our mood. Some people are naturally a bit more buoyant, and some are naturally a bit more melancholic.
Right, you always have that one friend who's just annoyingly cheerful in the morning.
Yeah, that's just the biological hand they were dealt at birth. But, and this is the important part, the brain is incredibly malleable. It is not fixed in stone.
You're talking about neuroplasticity, the idea that our daily habits and thoughts actually change the physical structure of our brains.
Exactly. You have a structure in your brain called the hippocampus, which acts as a sort of happiness hub. It's heavily involved in storing and processing positive memories. And through neuroplasticity, you can physically alter this area, as well as the pathways leading to it.
Okay, so the standard way people explain neuroplasticity is usually a bit abstract, like clearing a path in a forest.
Right, the whole walking through tall grass metaphor.
Yeah, but I feel like it makes a lot more sense if we think about it like a smartphone's predictive text algorithm.
Oh, I love that analogy. It's so much more relevant. Break that down for us.
So, well, think about your phone. If you constantly use it to type out complaints, angry texts, pessimistic rants, the algorithm learns your behavior. Pretty soon, it starts suggesting negative words before you even finish typing the first letter.
It anticipates your negativity.
Exactly. Your brain does the exact same thing with its neural circuitry. If you default to stress and spend all your time dwelling on the negative, the electrical signals in your brain physically reinforce those negative pathways.
It's like widening a highway for bad thoughts.
Right. Your brain's predictive text literally tees up anxiety as your next thought, simply because it's the most efficient, well-worn route for the electrical signal to travel.
You are literally optimizing your brain for misery.
Yep. But the reverse is just as true.
Right, and this is where gratitude comes in. If you intentionally practice gratitude and actively look for things to be joyful about, you are forcing the electrical signals down a new pathway. You are teaching the algorithm a new vocabulary.
It probably takes a lot of conscious effort at first, though.
Oh, absolutely. But the more you practice, the stronger those positive neural connections become. Eventually, the positive pathway becomes the default, and the old negative predictive text fades away just from lack of use.
And what's truly wild to me is how physiological this whole process can be. Like, it's not just a mindset shift, it's a physical feedback loop.
Oh, yeah. There are even biological hacks you can use to jumpstart this.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the facial feedback hypothesis?
I have, actually. It's the idea that faking a smile makes you happier, right?
Yeah. Even if you're having a terrible day, the physical act of faking a smile actually tricks your brain into feeling better.
See, I've always been a little skeptical of this. It sounds a bit like, I don't know, toxic positivity. Like, just smile through the pain. Can just moving your face actually change your neurochemistry?
I mean, it sounds absurd, I know, but the biology completely checks out. Your cranial nerves are directly linked to the amygdala, which is the emotional center of your brain.
Hmm.
When you contract the specific muscles around your mouth and your eyes to form a smile.
Like a genuine-looking smile, even if it's forced.
Right. Your brain registers that physical muscle movement. The brain essentially works backward and assumes, well, the smile muscles are firing, so we must be experiencing something joyful.
That is wild. It's like reverse engineering an emotion.
It literally is.
Yeah.
In response to those muscles moving, your brain starts releasing feel-good chemicals like dopamine and serotonin to match the physical state of the body. You can reverse engineer a good mood just by manipulating your facial muscles.
Okay, so we know we can actively rewire our neural pathways, and we know our biology responds to physical inputs. But if we really want to program our brain's predictive text for long-term fulfillment, what is the best possible input we can give it?
Without a doubt, it is connection with other people. When you look at the biology and the psychology of the top 10% of the happiest people in the world, the single main characteristic that distinguishes them from everyone else is the strength of their social relationships.
Wow. Not wealth, not health, just relationships.
Just relationships.
Yeah.
It is the ultimate secret ingredient to human happiness.
I mean, it makes sense from an evolutionary standpoint. As a species, we didn't survive by being the strongest or the fastest animals out on the savannah. We survived by sticking together in tribes.
Exactly. And because of that evolutionary history, your brain interprets social isolation as a literal physical threat. If you were isolated from the tribe 10,000 years ago, you were going to die.
You'd get eaten. Or starve.
Right. So today, when you experience chronic loneliness, your brain sounds the alarm. It creates a constant low-level stress response. Cortisol floods your system, inflammation markers go up, and your body remains stuck in a perpetual state of fight or flight.
It's treating loneliness like a predator.
Exactly. In fact, prolonged loneliness is so damaging to your cardiovascular and immune systems that it is physically as dangerous to your long-term health as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day.
Wait, really? A pack a day?
A pack a day. The wear and tear on your organs is identical.
Which brings up a really interesting cultural contradiction, I think, because right now there is a massive emphasis on self-care.
Oh, yeah.
The narrative is always that if you're stressed or burnt out, you should isolate, draw a bubble bath, treat yourself to a shopping spree, and just focus entirely on yourself. Does this biological need for connection mean the self-care narrative is actually, well, pointing us in the wrong direction?
It's not that treating yourself is inherently bad, but it is vastly overrated when it comes to generating actual, sustained happiness. Doing things for yourself will give you a temporary spike in pleasure, a quick hit of dopamine. But doing things for others, which is called prosocial behavior, increases long-term happiness and psychological flourishing significantly more than self-focused treats.
So skipping the bubble bath and going to help a friend pack up their apartment might actually do way more for your own mental health.
Precisely. Let's look at everyday examples. Imagine you're a student, right? And you are completely overwhelmed by upcoming exams. Taking a break to buy yourself an expensive coffee feels nice for about 10 minutes.
Until you finish the coffee.
Right. But offering to help a stressed classmate study for 20 minutes, that activates entirely different neural pathways, producing a deeper, longer-lasting sense of joy and self-worth.
Or like at work, if you're slogging through a tough week, taking the time to have a deep, meaningful conversation with a colleague instead of just, exchanging superficial small talk about the weather.
Yes, those prosocial actions trigger a cascade of positive neurochemistry.
And it doesn't even have to be a grand gesture, right? Physical touch, like a hug, is incredibly potent if you do it right.
Oh, the 10-second hug.
Yes.
Yes, this is a biological superpower. If you give someone a hug that lasts for just 20 seconds, it completely alters your body chemistry.
I will say 20 seconds feels like a surprisingly long time when you're actually in a hug. Like you have to really commit to it. It gets a bit awkward around second 8.
It does. It can feel like an eternity at first. But right around that 20-second mark, your brain releases a heavy dose of oxytocin, often called the cuddle hormone.
Huh.
And more importantly, it actively downregulates your sympathetic nervous system. It dramatically lowers your stress, reduces your blood pressure, and floods your system with feelings of trust and safety. You are communicating to your primitive brain that you are safe within the tribe.
Okay, so we've covered the milestones, the neurochemistry, the predictive text of our brains, and the evolutionary need for connection. Let's get incredibly practical for the listener. how do we take all this biology and apply it? What can you do right now to structurally improve your baseline?
Let's dive into some highly effective, actionable strategies based on how our bodies actually function. First rule, buy experiences, not things. We talked about how your brain adapts to wealth. You will habituate to that new phone or that expensive watch in a matter of days.
Right, the hedonic treadmill again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But memories do the exact opposite. Because of how the hippocampus consolidates memory, experiences actually appreciate in value over time. Think about a trip with your friends or like a chaotic camping weekend where everything went wrong.
Oh, yeah, those are always the best stories later.
Right. Those memories are smoothed out by the brain over time. They become sweeter and they act as a permanent anchor for your social bonds.
So you're investing in an asset that your brain retroactively improves rather than an object that your brain just learns to ignore?
Perfectly said. Second piece of advice.
Yeah.
Utilize the 20-45 rule to manage your daily neurochemistry.
The 20-45 rule. What's that?
So just 20 minutes of aerobic exercise, getting your heart rate up doesn't just make you fit. It triggers a heavy release of dopamine and serotonin. It physically repairs neurons and elevates your mood for hours.
Okay, and the 45?
On the flip side, spending 45 minutes doing something creative like painting, playing music, or even just writing in a journal induces a flow state. This temporarily shuts down the default mode network in your brain, dramatically reducing your body's cortisol levels.
It's incredible how predictable our biology is. We treat happiness like it's this mystical aura, but it's really just an operating system. If you input aerobic exercise and creative focus, the system outputs stability.
It really is an operating system. Okay, third strategy. You have to manage your digital environment. Social media is an absolute breeding ground for the exact same trap that catches the silver medalist. Social comparison.
Oh, comparing yourself upward. Yeah, that kills happiness.
Completely kills it. When you scroll, your amygdala is constantly reacting to everyone else's carefully curated highlight reel, which makes your behind-the-scenes life feel totally inadequate. Limiting your screen time isn't just about saving hours in your day. It actively protects your baseline self-esteem from algorithmic hijacking.
I mean, it is remarkably difficult to appreciate the path you're walking when you have a device in your pocket constantly buzzing with images of other people's filtered vacations.
Exactly. And finally, a couple of highly specific, almost weird biological hacks to optimize your mood. First, pay attention to what you eat. Foods that are rich in an amino acid called tryptophan, like nuts, seeds, and fresh fruit, are vital. Tryptophan is the direct biological precursor to serotonin.
Wait, so your body literally cannot make serotonin without it?
Nope. You can't synthesize the contentment chemical without the building blocks. Also, and this one is crazy, if you have the option, get outside when the weather is exactly 57 degrees Fahrenheit.
57 degrees. That is aggressively specific. Why not 70 degrees? Or like a warm summer day?
It all comes down to thermoregulation. At exactly 57 degrees, a lightly clothed human body requires the absolute least amount of metabolic energy to maintain its core temperature.
Oh, I see.
Because your body isn't burning energy trying to cool down and sweat or shivering to warm up, it redirects those resources. That freed up metabolic energy goes straight to the brain's prefrontal cortex. Your executive function improves, and your mood stabilizes, simply because your biology is completely at peace with the environment. It is the literal sweet spot for the human machine.
That is fascinating. But, you know, because your brain chemistry physically syncs with your environment and the people around you, your individual happiness isn't just a personal metric, which brings us to the macro level, because it can sometimes feel a bit, I don't know, selfish to focus so heavily on optimizing your own joy.
That is a massive misconception. Optimizing your own happiness is actually one of the most socially responsible things you can do. Let's look at the health implications first. People with a high baseline of joy have lower resting heart rates and significantly stronger immune systems. Their bodies produce more antibodies, meaning they literally fight off the common cold faster than unhappy people.
So they're physically healthier.
Much healthier. And because their physiological stress load is so low, they live significantly longer. For example, individuals who maintain strong, close friendships throughout their lives can increase their lifespan by over 20%.
You're extending your life by a fifth just by maintaining your social ties. That's huge.
And when you scale that up to a society, the impact is staggering. Happy individuals make better, more engaged citizens. They're more likely to volunteer and to contribute to their communities. Workplaces with high morale are vastly more productive and innovative. But the most incredible part of this big picture is the contagion effect.
You mean how a mood literally spreads through a group?
Yes, through the mirror neurons in our brains. Happiness is highly contagious. It spreads through social networks like a virus, but a beneficial one. If you have a friend who is genuinely happy, it boosts your own chances of being happy by 15%.
Whoa.
Your joy doesn't just stay trapped inside your own head, it radiates outward. By managing your own neurochemistry, you actively alter the brain chemistry of the people around you.
So your happiness is quite literally a public health resource. Which actually brings us to a question for you, listening right now. Based on the biological reality that helping others is the fastest way to boost your own joy, what is one small act of kindness you can do for someone else today? Think about it and let us know your thoughts in the comments.
Because those small actions really do compound into massive structural changes in the brain.
Absolutely. So, to pull all of this together, happiness isn't a destination. And it isn't found in a massive paycheck or the avoidance of all stress. It's an active daily practice. It's built by protecting your social relationships, rewiring your brain's predictive text through gratitude, and prioritizing pro-social behavior, helping others, rather than just pampering yourself.
Beautifully summarized. And I want to leave you with one final memorable insight that pulls all this biology together. Don't chase happiness directly.
Explain that.
If you wake up every day, check your pulse, and constantly ask yourself, am I happy right now? Did that experience make me happy? You will almost always feel inadequate. The very act of constantly measuring your happiness pushes it further away because it traps you in a state of anxious evaluation.
Right, you're observing it instead of living it.
Exactly. Happiness is not a goal. It is a byproduct. It is the exhaust that comes from an engine running well. Focus on living a life of meaning. Focus on doing work that you actually care about. Focus on deeply loving the people around you. And if you do those things, one day you'll turn around and you'll realize that happiness is quietly caught up to you.
Just like that bronze medalist we talked about at the start. They aren't looking at the silver or the gold. They're just looking around, realizing that the ultimate joy isn't about securing the perfect, objective outcome. It's found in the gratitude of simply being on the podium.
Exactly. The podium is exactly what you make of it. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to follow the podcast, leave a rating, and share it with a friend. Your support helps us continue exploring the topics school never taught us.